Ready to open the hood? UseTool for the tutorials.
And for car parts, the right idea is the Mr. Auto app. Easy, fast, and with better prices than on the website.
You will find the bulk shock absorbers used in the video exclusively on the Mr. Auto website and through the link in the description. Turn your engine off, pull up the handbrake, pull on the bonnet release lever and open the bonnet. As the components to be removed are very often seized up, don't hesitate to brush and to use penetrating oil to facilitate the operation. Using a 6mm Allen key and a 22mm spanner, unscrew the upper shock absorber head's retaining nut by a few threads. You can also use the specific tool used in the video, which will make your task much easier. With the wheel on the ground, using a D-handle wrench and a 30mm socket, unscrew the transmission nut by a few threads. Loosen the stud bolts on the front wheels. Lift the front of the vehicle. We strongly suggest watching the tutorial, raising your vehicle safely before carrying out this step. Place the vehicle on the axle stands. You must remove the wheels in order to change the front shock absorbers on your car. This will give you full access to the suspension system. Don't forget to slide them under the vehicle. You now have to remove the upper ball from the sway bar link. It connects the stabilizer link to the shock absorbers so that the wheels are always in contact with the ground. To do this, we recommend watching the video How to Replace the Sway Bar Link's Citroën C3. During this operation, you will work on the front end of your car. An alignment check carried out by a professional will ensure that your steering system is once again perfectly adjusted and functioning. Finish unscrewing the lock nut from the transmission. Brush the screw of the shock absorber base and spray it with degreaser. Using a socket wrench and an 18mm socket, unscrew the screw on the base of the shock absorber. Then remove the screw. Unclip the brake hose. Disconnect the ABS sensor cable. Brush the bottom of the shock absorber and spray it with penetrating oil. This will help with future manipulations. Start by brushing the ball joint retaining nut of the control arm, then spray it with degreaser. Then, using a socket wrench, a 16mm socket and a 16mm spanner, unscrew the screw holding the control arm ball joint. Then remove the screw. On this vehicle, it is difficult to extract the ball joint from the steering knuckle control arms. Install a metal clamping clip on the suspension arm. Next, insert a crowbar for prying and separate the ball joint from the steering knuckle. You can now remove the drive shaft from the stub axle. Prepare a stable, elevated surface to place all the stub axle once you've removed it. Lightly tap the stub axle to free the bottom of the shock absorber. Finish unscrewing the nut, holding the upper suspension strut support bearing. Hold the shock absorber with one hand and finish unscrewing with the other. Remove the upper support bearing. Remove the shock absorber. In order to change the shock absorber, you must now separate it from the spring. You can find a description of the tool used in the video, which we think is most adapted to the operation. Careful, pay attention as you compress the spring. This is not without risk and should be undertaken paying very careful attention. Install the shock absorber on the tool, then tighten the mobile flange against the spring, controlling its position carefully. Check that they're properly held by the locking studs, then slowly compress the spring using the socket wrench and the appropriate socket. Once the shock absorber is free in the spring, you can use a 19mm offset wrench and a 7mm Allen key to unscrew the suspension strut support bearing. In the most extreme cases, you have to use an impact wrench. You can also use the specific tool used in the video, which will make your task much easier. Then remove the suspension strut support bearing assembly. Remove the sleeve. Remove the shock absorber from the spring.
Okay, guys, if we can share this video with you and help you save a lot of money, is also thanks to our partner, Mr. Auto. So, if you want to support us and buy the parts for this operation, visit their website. Okay, back to work.
Take the new shock absorber and all of the accessories that you will find in the video description on the Mr. Auto site. Before installing the new shock absorbers, it is necessary to prime them by pressing the shock absorber rod vertically so that the gas and the hydraulic fluid are separated. Unscrew the lock nut on the stem. Position everything in the spring. Put the stop in the sleeve. Put the restraint bellows back in. Then install the upper shock absorber support, the lower suspension strut support bearing, and finish by screwing the nut on the shock absorber mount. Tightly fix it in place using a 19mm offset wrench while holding the stem with a 7mm Allen key. Unscrew the spring compression tool, paying attention to the position of the spring on the lower shock absorber support. You have now finished preparing the new part. Sand and grease the inside of the stub axle to help facilitate the reinsertion of the shock absorber. Insert the shock absorber, starting from the top part. A keyed connection allows you to position it perfectly. Replace the upper suspension strut support bearing, then screw its retaining nut by hand. Thread the shock absorber base into the stub axle. The bottom positioning pin of the shock absorber base must be inserted into the opening of the stub axle. You can use a hammer to help you put on the shock absorber. Screw the foot of the screw back into the shock absorber. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Slide the drive shaft into the steering knuckle. Then use the crowbar technique again to position the control arm ball joint in the steering knuckle. Once in place, remove the clamping clip. Screw the ball joint nut of the control arm back on. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Put the sway bar link back in place. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Reclip the ABS sensor hose into its housings. Clip the brake hose back in. Use the socket wrench to screw the transmission nut back in. Finish off the tightening with a torque wrench. Secure the nut with a chisel. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle. Put the car back on the ground and block the wheel securely. Final tightening of the suspension strut support bearing nut is done with a torque wrench. Operation completed.
Hi, it's Theo from UseTool. I hope this video has helped you a lot in your car maintenance. We would be super grateful if you could spread the word so that we can produce even more tutorials. Simply give us a like, a comment, and hit that subscribe button. It really helps us boost the channel and help the whole community. Thanks a lot and have a great one.